It was September 11, 2001, just a normal day for 54-year-old David Mickey. He was working at Heinz. At 8:46 a.m., the radio started talking about an event. Everyone in the office gathered around the radio. The radio said that the North Tower of the World Trade Center was hit by a hijacked commercial airplane. Everyone went to the break room and watched the TV. David had...
So I literally saw the second plane fly into the building,
Jeez.
into the second tower.
About every major channel was now showing live footage of the attacks on the Twin Towers. David thought that
It was like watching a movie.
It took him a while to realize this was actually happening and that he wasn't watching a movie. He then remembered that his son-in-law's brother Rick lives in New York City. He made sure to grab the phone and immediately call Rick. Rick mentioned to him that he was okay and wasn't near the towers at the time of the attack. The whole world was in shock that something terrible would ever happen to the United States. Everybody with David at the office was just as shocked as he was. David also saw anger in people's faces. This event changed how many people perceived the nation. Many people like David continued to watch the TV. This is when at 9:37 a.m. another hijacked airplane crashed right into the Pentagon. Nobody believed this could get any worse. But then at 9:59 a.m. the entire South Tower collapsed. This would have killed or critically injured anybody near the tower. This was the point where the tragedy became even worse than it ever could have been. At around 10:28 a.m., the North Tower also collapsed, killing or injuring anybody who was near the tower. At this point, many people could understand that they should just say goodbye to anybody in or near the towers. They also assumed that most people in the Pentagon at the crash site were dead or badly injured. During the attack, another plane was found near Shanksville, PA. It was evident that this plane was also hijacked, but failed to hit its target or reach its destination. After the event, David understood how amazing first responders are. He realized that people are willing to take major risks to help others survive. David was also
I was in full support of the government and our president.
Then later after the event, George W. Bush decides to send troops to Afghanistan. President Bush finds out that the Taliban, the leaders of Afghanistan, were allowing terrorists to train on their grounds. The Taliban allowed Al-Qaeda to have camps and they helped Al-Qaeda to attack the World Trade Center and other targets. David was irritated that a country would
provided them a safe haven to train so that they learn how to fly these planes. That just irritated me.
On September 20th, 2001, the nation listened to President Bush, including David. He told the country that he was sending troops to Afghanistan to wipe out Al-Qaeda and weaken the Taliban forces. The whole nation had agreed that the U.S. should go into Afghanistan. People wanted revenge for the actions of Al-Qaeda. The nation all at this point was together. David, like many other people, was in full support of the U.S. military. After the attacks, the U.S. security was greatly overhauled. When someone wanted to get on a plane, they had to go through metal detectors and sometimes be patted down by police. There were also a greater amount of security in all public places. This new protection was a part of the new act, the Patriot Act. Later on, after the event, David went to work and lived his life as usual, but he still would never forget what those evil people did to America. He was grateful that he didn't have any personal connections to any of the victims of the attacks. After concluding my interview with David Mickey, my grandpa, I learned that even though an awful event like the attacks of 9/11, people will stay strong and support their nation. I also learned that back in that time period, many people were supportive of the government. Nowadays, there are a lot of unhappy people with the government. I also got a better perspective of what people's reactions were watching the event. I also learned about how there was changes to security after the event of 9/11, and I also learned about how the world had changed after 9/11. I finally learned more about the attacks of 9/11 and got a more descriptive picture of what was happening during that time period.